Hello and welcome. You are listening to Let's Talk with Dr. Sheila. I'm Dr. Sheila Foreman, clinical psychologist and attorney at law. And on this show, we talk about everything and anything that affects you and your life from both a psychological and legal point of view. Today, our topic is ethics. My guest is author Joseph Murata. He is the author of Success with Ethics, a workbook for young adults. This workbook is made up of 29 true life stories to help teenagers learn about life experience through other people's life problems and accomplishments. He's going to be joining us in just a few minutes to talk to us about this all-important topic. As always, the last segment of the show addresses legal issues as they pertain to the topic of the day. And because we're talking about ethics, I thought we'd take a look at the difference between law and ethics, and then we'll also take a look at some of the procedural aspects if you feel that a professional that you've been working with has acted in an unethical way. And because I'm most familiar with psychology, we'll take a look at our California Board of Psychology and what the procedure is if you think a psychologist has violated his or her ethics. Joining me in the studio, Murata, he is the author of Success with Ethics, a workbook for young adults. He comes to this topic with experience as a president and CEO in a very successful food brokerage company for over 25 years. He also has been a teacher in our public school systems, and he and his family live in beautiful Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Hello, Joe, and welcome to the show.
Hi, Dr. Sheila. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to be on your show.
Oh, I'm delighted, and this is such an important topic. Being both a psychologist and a lawyer, ethics is a very big part of my life. I have ethics code for both of my professions, and the idea that you want to go into the world of young adults, particularly teenagers, to start teaching them ethics, I think is very inspiring. How did you come up with that idea? What made you say we need to start with the teenagers if we're going to build ethics in our world?
Well, first of all, in running my own business for 25 years as president of a food brokerage, I could see that a lot of younger people coming into the employment field really didn't have a good handle on what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. And besides me being a father of now a 26-year-old son, by the way, he was like the greatest kid I could ever imagine.
You sound like a proud papa.
Yeah, he is a great son. Matter of fact, when he graduated from college, he gave a speech on why it's important to have ethics, so I was a proud father that day.
You sure were. You sure were. So you were working in this brokerage firm. You noticed unethical behavior. You were raising a son at the time. So how else did all of this come together for you to create this program?
Well, I had all these negative experiences through 25 years of people giving you half-truths or, don't get me wrong, a lot of the people were nice people, good, well-meaning people, but I could observe them over a 20-25-year period, and I saw times in their lives where they became ethically challenged. And observing these people that they put their own personal gains ahead of the other people's interests, I could see that eventually they ended up paying the consequences for their bad behavior, whether their company went out of business, or they lost major accounts, or they got fired themselves. And I finally got to the point where I was saying, well, geez, going through life, you can learn from your mistakes. But the mistakes just kept on coming and coming and coming. And I said, geez, I got to find a way to take all this negativity and turn it into a positive. So I came up with the idea of, let me put this into a book form to help young people just understand, learn through other people's experiences, verbally live through these stories, so they could see at the end of the day there really isn't a shortcut. And just hard work and honest work will get them further in life than trying to find a way to, take a shortcut.
Such an important lesson, and to teach it to people young in life is so empowering. Why don't we take a step back and let's talk about the term ethics. When you're talking about ethics or people being ethically challenged, I like that term when you used it. What are you referring to so that our listeners have a clear understanding of where you're coming from?
Basically, it breaks down to just coming down to being honest in what you're saying. And, there's certain people that I've dealt with through life that when they speak to me, or I even had other people tell tell me, when you talk to that person, he's talking from his heart. You could see that that's really what he means, versus other people that they say something, but you don't know if they're just saying something just to basically get you to buy something, or they're going to tell you something that you want to hear, but as they leave the room or as you walk away, you're saying, gee, I wonder what they really meant or what they're really like. You want to be able to have that personal connection that people, when they say they trust you, that really goes far. The day of people doing business on a handshake is not, that seems to be going away, which is kind of sad. I have many people that have said to me over the years, well, it might not be ethical, but it's legal. And that's something that's really bothered me over the years as well.
And that really is an important point, because a behavior that is ethical or unethical doesn't have legal consequences to it. So, crossing against the light, for example, has legal consequences, but lying to your spouse doesn't necessarily have legal consequences, but is an ethical dilemma.
Exactly.
But how bad is the problem of ethics in our world? What you said before was so profound, that the day of the handshake deal really is gone. We're not in a position anymore where we can trust each other's word the way we used to be able to. In your opinion, just how bad has it gotten?
I think it's pretty bad. I think it's worse than most people realize. Look at what the kids are exposed to today. There's so many things. There's poor role models. They're, sending provocative pictures and emails on the cell phones. They're experimenting with drugs. They're underage drinking. You got people like these Bernie Madoffs of the world, who are successful people but still taking advantage of other people. And in my book, there's many stories of people, fraudulently slipping and saying that they hurt their neck or back trying to collect, insurance money. And it just goes on and on and on. And like I said, these stories are all true stories. You wouldn't believe the things that people go, the lengths that they go through to try to deceive other people. It's at the end of the day, it all catches up with you. And I'm trying to help young people, older people as well. I even have correctional facilities using my book to help offenders understand the benefits of being ethical. But I want to get to the people before they're in a correctional facility.
Absolutely. I was thinking, as you were describing, that this book is valuable beyond teenagers, but if we got to the teenagers, then the adults of our future wouldn't have these ethical dilemmas.
Right. There are just so many stories. One in particular is a young lady bought diamond earrings around the Christmas holidays, brought them back to the store because she decided she couldn't afford to make the payments and just changed her mind. And she bought the earrings from her best friend's mother, who worked at this department store. And it turned out that the earrings that were returned were not diamonds, they were cubic zirconiums. And the mother ended up losing the job, got fired. Her best friend and her ended up having a falling out, and she can't go back to the store anymore. And the store was afraid to press charges just for the point of having bad publicity, so they dropped everything but told her she's banned from ever going into the store again. And you couldn't even make up some of these stories. At the end of the day, she ended up ruining a relationship with her best friend.
Absolutely. And your book consists of 29 true life stories. How did you collect these stories, Joe? Where did they come from, and who participated in putting this book together?
Well, it's I could have wrote a book for 2,900 stories from the things I've seen in my lifetime, but
that's probably true.
I kind of cherry-picked stories that I thought would relate, that a young person could relate to, and about half the stories in the book are from people that I've actually dealt with on a business one-on-one. And then other things were just things that I experienced in life myself, whether it be, through friends or relatives. And just shaking my head at the end of the day saying, the world shouldn't be this way. People shouldn't be trying to take advantage of the other person. The funny part is if anyone tried to take advantage of the people that were doing these unethical things, they'd be the first ones, they'd be the ones of the loudest screaming that, they've been treated unfairly. So, I'm just trying to make this, when you write a book like this, it's not about just selling books and making royalties. You've got a purpose in life, and I'm trying to make this a better place.
And we appreciate it. I'm speaking on behalf of the entire planet Earth right now when I say that. When you collected these stories, why is it that true life stories help people? How does this work? Why is sharing true life stories something that's a valuable tool, especially for our teenagers?
Well, I think the true life story is, well, first of all, if I try to make up these stories, I couldn't even make them up. So that was some of these things are pretty creative. But you want to relay the message to the young people that this stuff happens in real life, and if they try to think of a shortcut or a way to defraud somebody or take advantage of somebody, most of the time they're not going to get away with it. Just like the Bernie Madoff story again. I mean, he got away with it for years, and people say, well, look at this, he's getting away with it. But at the end of the day, I can honestly say that all the people that I've observed, it could have taken 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, but at the end of the day, they ended up, having a major problem in their life. And they all look in the mirror and say, oh, life isn't fair, I could never get a lucky break. But it's all because of the choices that you make on that road in life, that where you're going to end up. And you want to end up at the end of your life's experience someone of honesty and integrity. Even within my book, after they take the course, I even give them an opportunity to get a certificate of ethical achievement, which I think is really important because it gives you a sense of accomplishment. Plus, when these young people go for a job and they talk to an employer and they say, I have taken a course on ethics and I know what it is to be responsible, I won't lie to you, I won't steal from your company, I'll work for you with the highest integrity. People don't talk that way today, and if an employer heard a young person speak in those terms, I think they would move to the top of the pick list for consideration.
Yeah, I saw that you offer this certificate of achievement. I thought that was wonderful because a lot of times just having that document is so reinforcing. It's a reflection of the work that they've done. They can feel proud about their accomplishments. And to use it in a job interview is a wonderful idea. I hadn't even thought about that when I was reviewing your book and looking that you give this certificate. So that's a great tool, especially for young people.
Yeah, and hopefully they'll have that in their office or in their room and something to remind them when they get up every day that they can be a person of integrity, and it's going to get them further in life. Sometimes.
Absolutely. My guest today is Joseph Murata. He's the author of Success with Ethics, a workbook for young adults. This workbook is made up of 29 true life stories to help teenagers learn about life experience through the experience of others. We're going to take a break. When we come back, more with Joe and the topic of ethics. This is Dr. Sheila. We'll be back in a moment.